Imagine waking up one day and realizing that the life you've been living isn't truly your own. All the choices you've made, the beliefs you hold, and even your deepest desires may not have come from who you truly are. They may have been shaped by the expectations, pressures, and hidden influences of the world around you. Think about it. How much of your identity is a reflection of your true, authentic self, and how much of it is simply a mask you've created to fit in with society? How often do you feel like you're playing a role or living according to a script written by others, society, your upbringing, or even your own fears? Today, we're about to explore a profound idea from Carl Jung, a pioneer in the field of psychology. He believed that life doesn't really begin until you find yourself. But what does that even mean? Is it about becoming more self-aware, or is there a much deeper and more transformative process involved? As we explore this idea, you'll uncover the hidden forces that shape your identity. You'll discover why most people never truly find themselves, and more importantly, how you can break free from the invisible chains that keep you from living authentically. Carl Jung was a revolutionary thinker. Unlike many psychologists of his time, he believed that mental well-being isn't just about fitting into societal norms or finding approval from others. Instead, he saw psychological growth as a journey toward individuation, which is the process of becoming your most authentic and true self. But here's the catch. Most people never take this journey. Instead, they remain stuck in a version of themselves that has been shaped by external influences. They live according to the expectations of others, never questioning whether the life they lead is truly aligned with their deepest desires. They chase approval from the outside world, believing that happiness comes from success, from being accepted, or from meeting others' expectations. Yet, deep down, there's always a quiet sense of unease. Something feels missing. Jung believed that true life begins when we stop running from our own selves. But before we can truly understand what it means to find yourself, we need to first understand what prevents most people from ever doing so. From the moment we are born, we begin to be shaped by outside forces. We are given names, roles, and taught what is acceptable and what is not. We are shown what behaviors are rewarded and what behaviors are punished. This conditioning happens so subtly, so gradually, that we don't even realize it. We adapt, we conform, and over time we learn to suppress parts of ourselves that don't fit with society's expectations. Think back to your childhood. Were there moments when you wanted to express yourself freely, only to be told you were being unrealistic or too sensitive? Perhaps you were told to grow up, to be realistic, or that certain emotions or desires were wrong or inappropriate. Slowly, you began to hide those parts of yourself, burying them deep inside where no one could see them. And in doing so, you started to build a mask, a persona. The persona is the face we present to the world. It allows us to function in society, to navigate relationships, and to gain acceptance. But here's the problem. The more we identify with this mask, the more we lose touch with our real selves. We begin to believe that the persona is who we truly are, forgetting that there is something much deeper underneath. Then there's the other side of the coin, the shadow. If the persona is what we show the world, the shadow is what we hide from it. The shadow is made up of everything we have rejected, suppressed, or denied about ourselves. Our fears, unspoken desires, vulnerabilities, and even hidden strengths. The shadow doesn't just go away because we ignore it. Instead, it operates beneath the surface, influencing our thoughts, behaviors, and even our emotional reactions. Have you ever intensely disliked someone but couldn't explain why? Or been strongly triggered by something someone else did without fully understanding why it provoked such a strong emotional response? Jung believed that these strong emotional reactions often come from our shadow. When we react negatively to qualities in others, it's often because those very qualities exist within us, hidden in our shadow. But here's the most interesting part. Jung believed that the shadow isn't something to fear or reject. Instead, it holds the key to true self-discovery. The parts of ourselves that we hide or suppress are not our enemies. They are the missing pieces of our wholeness. Jung's great insight was this: psychological growth isn't about eliminating the shadow, it's about integrating it. It's about confronting the parts of ourselves that we have denied and accepting them as part of who we truly are. When we do this, we unlock a powerful source of personal strength, authenticity, and freedom. This is where the real journey of self-discovery begins. Are you ready to confront the truth of who you are? To break free from the illusions that have shaped you? Because what comes next will challenge everything you thought you knew about yourself, and it will open the door to a life that is truly your own. Most people go through life believing they already know who they are. They define themselves by their name, their job, their culture, and their past experiences. But what if I told you that your true identity is far more complex than you realize? What if the version of you that you identify with right now is only a small part of something much larger, something much deeper? Carl Jung believed that within every individual is a hidden world, a vast and intricate inner landscape filled with forgotten memories, repressed emotions, untapped desires, and unacknowledged potential. And the key to finding yourself isn't about creating a new identity. It's about uncovering what has already been buried within you, often without you even realizing it. Think about it. Have you ever felt a deep, unexplainable longing for something more? A sense that there's a greater version of yourself waiting to emerge? This isn't just wishful thinking or imagination. It's the voice of your unconscious mind, calling you to something greater. Jung referred to this process as individuation. He believed that true fulfillment comes not from meeting the expectations of others, but from integrating all parts of ourselves, the good and the bad, the light and the dark. But here's where it gets difficult. Before you can integrate these parts of yourself, you first need to confront them. And most people stop right there. Why? Because facing yourself can be uncomfortable. It means questioning long-held beliefs, challenging your fears, and confronting the inner conflicts that have shaped your life. Think about it. How often do we avoid silence? How often do we distract ourselves with work, social media, or entertainment? Anything to avoid sitting alone with our thoughts. This constant distraction isn't accidental. It's a defense mechanism. It's a way of avoiding the deeper questions that linger beneath the surface. But no matter how much we try to ignore them, these hidden parts of ourselves don't go away. They show up in unexpected ways, through anxiety, self-sabotage, unfulfilling relationships, or a persistent feeling of being lost. Jung believed that our unconscious mind is always speaking to us, but we've learned to ignore its messages. However, if we begin to pay attention, we start to see patterns. We start to recognize how our deepest wounds influence our choices. We notice how our suppressed desires shape our behaviors, and we see how the things we fear most often hold the greatest lessons for our growth. Here's a simple example: fear of rejection. Many people live their lives terrified of being judged or abandoned. They seek approval from others, avoid conflict, and suppress their true thoughts just to maintain harmony. But where does this fear come from? Is it really about the opinions of others? Or is it connected to something deeper, like an old wound from childhood, a time when they felt unseen, unworthy, or not good enough? Jung would argue that this fear isn't just an emotion. It's a shadow aspect of the self that hasn't been fully acknowledged. And until we bring it into the light, it will continue to control our actions from behind the scenes. But here's the incredible thing. When we finally face these hidden parts of ourselves, they lose their power. Imagine what it would feel like to live without the constant fear of judgment, to speak your truth without hesitation, and to make decisions based not on what others expect from you, but on what feels right within you. This is the power of individuation. It's not about becoming someone new. It's about becoming more of who you truly are. So how do we begin this process? How do we uncover the unconscious forces that shape our lives? Jung believed that one of the most powerful ways to access the unconscious is through symbols, dreams, and introspection. He saw dreams as messages from the deeper self, revealing hidden truths about our psyche. Jung also emphasized the importance of creative expression, art, writing, music, or any other form of self-exploration, as a way of accessing and integrating the unconscious mind. But perhaps the most important step in this journey is awareness. The moment you begin to question your thoughts, your reactions, and your deeply held beliefs, you're already taking the first step toward transformation. When you stop running from discomfort and face it with curiosity, you begin to reclaim your true self. Here's the truth. Most people live their entire lives as strangers to themselves. They follow paths that others have laid out for them, never realizing they have the power to choose something different. They suppress their true nature, never knowing that their greatest strength lies in embracing all parts of themselves, the good, the bad, the light, the dark, and everything in between. But you don't have to live that way. You have the power to break free from the illusions that have held you back, to shed the layers of conditioning and fear that have kept you from experiencing life fully. You have the ability to step into the fullness of who you are, unafraid, unapologetic, and completely yourself. In the next part, we're going to explore something even more profound, the hidden archetypes within you. These ancient patterns, buried deep in your psyche, hold the key to unlocking your greatest potential. What you are about to learn may forever change the way you see yourself. If the journey to finding yourself were as simple as making a decision, everyone would already be living in perfect alignment with their true nature. But as we've seen, the process is far more complex. It's not just about choosing who you want to be, it's about uncovering the forces that have shaped you, facing the parts of yourself you've rejected, and integrating them into a whole and authentic identity. And here's a question. Why do we feel drawn to certain behaviors, desires, or fears? Why do we repeat the same mistakes or fall into the same patterns, even when we try to change? Carl Jung's answer was revolutionary. He believed that within every human being, there exist universal patterns, psychological blueprints, that influence our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors in ways we often don't fully understand. He called these patterns archetypes. Archetypes are ancient collective images stored in what Jung called the collective unconscious. This is a level of the psyche shared by all humans, inherited from the experiences of our ancestors. These archetypes shape our personal identity, our relationships, and even how we see the world. They appear in myths, religions, literature, and dreams. They are not just fictional, they represent real psychological forces inside all of us. For example, consider the hero archetype. This is the part of you that longs for purpose, that seeks to overcome obstacles, grow stronger, and reach a higher version of yourself. But the hero does not exist alone. The hero is always connected to the shadow. The shadow is the part of you that holds your fears, weaknesses, and untapped potential. In myths, the hero must confront the shadow before they can truly evolve. Now, let's bring this into real life. Have you ever had a moment when you knew you needed to change, but something inside you resisted? A time when you had the opportunity to step into a better version of yourself, but fear, doubt, or self-sabotage held you back. This is the battle between the hero and the shadow, playing out within you. The mistake many people make is trying to suppress the shadow instead of understanding it. But Jung believed that true transformation happens when we integrate the shadow, not by rejecting it, but by learning from it. For example, if you struggle with self-doubt, instead of ignoring it or pretending it doesn't exist, Jung would encourage you to ask yourself, where does this self-doubt come from? Is it really your own, or was it planted in you by past experiences or external pressures? What lessons does it hold? Could it be that within your doubt lies a hidden strength, like humility, introspection, or the ability to see things from multiple perspectives? When we start seeing our struggles not as weaknesses but as messages from our unconscious, everything changes. But archetypes go beyond just the hero and the shadow. There are many others, each with its own role in shaping our identity. One of the most powerful is the anima and animus archetype. Jung believed that within every man exists a hidden feminine side, the anima, and within every woman exists a hidden masculine side, the animus. These are not about physical gender, but about balancing energies within us. The anima represents intuition, emotion, creativity, and deep connection with the unconscious. The animus represents logic, structure, discipline, and assertiveness. When these two forces are in balance, a person feels whole. But when they are out of balance, inner conflict arises. For instance, a man who rejects his anima might struggle with expressing emotions, fearing vulnerability as a weakness. A woman who rejects her animus might feel hesitant to assert herself and take control of her own life. But when both sides are embraced instead of suppressed, they become powerful sources of strength. This leads us to one of Jung's most important insights. To find yourself, you must embrace all parts of yourself, the light and the dark, the masculine and the feminine, the known and the unknown. Individualization isn't about becoming someone different, it's about becoming whole. Now there's one final revelation that ties everything together. It's the greatest truth of all and may change your life forever. Most people think their identity is fixed, that it's a single, unchanging self. But Jung and other great thinkers believe something radical. The self is fluid, ever-changing, and far greater than we've been led to believe. What if the version of you that you identify with right now is just a fragment of something much larger? What if the person you think you are is just one expression of a limitless consciousness that has been evolving for centuries, through countless lives and experiences? This truth is liberating and terrifying. It means that everything you believe yourself to be, all the fears, limitations, and stories you tell yourself, are only part of the truth. They are simply constructs, temporary frameworks built by your mind. The greatest truth of all is that you are not just a single, isolated being moving through life. You are a vast, interconnected field of consciousness, carrying within you the wisdom of generations, the depth of the unconscious, and the potential for transformation beyond imagination. If this is true, then why do we still feel limited? Why do we experience suffering, doubt, and fear? The answer lies in the ego, the part of the mind that creates a sense of separation, saying, this is who I am, and this is who I am not. The ego builds walls, defines boundaries, and keeps you stuck in familiar patterns. While the ego serves a purpose, it is also the greatest obstacle to self-discovery. In truth, you are not limited to a single identity. You are a being in constant evolution. And the moment you stop clinging to the idea of who you think you are, you unlock infinite possibilities. So how do you do this? How do you step beyond the illusion of self and into the fullness of your existence? Jung offered a path that requires courage, deep introspection, and a willingness to let go of everything you thought you knew about yourself. First, embrace the unknown. Most people fear the unknown because it represents uncertainty. But the unknown is where growth happens. It's where transformation occurs. When you stop resisting the mysteries within you and lean into them with curiosity, you begin to see the world and yourself with new eyes. Second, release attachment to labels. You are not just your name, your job, your personality, or your past. You are something far beyond definition. When you let go of rigid identities, you create space for something greater to emerge. Third, listen to the unconscious. Your dreams, instincts, and deep intuitions are not random. They are messages from your deeper self, guiding you toward wholeness. The more you listen, the more you'll begin to recognize patterns, synchronicities, and signs that lead you toward your true path. Finally, surrender to the process. Finding yourself is not a destination. It's an ongoing journey. It's the unfolding of deeper and deeper layers of truth. And here's the ultimate revelation. You were never truly lost. You have always been here. The self you've been seeking has always been inside you, waiting to be remembered. The choice is yours. Will you continue living as a fragment of who you truly are, bound by old fears and illusions? Or will you step forward into the unknown, embracing the vast, limitless being that you were meant to become? Life doesn't truly begin until you find yourself. Now, you know the way. If you liked this video, share it with your friends. Be sure to check out our other videos too. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and share. Peace.